I'm going to tell you our wedding night horror story. Have you ever seen that TLC show, Sex Sent Me to the ER?
No, but I have heard about that.
So
What?
So let's just say we ended up in the ER our wedding night. So, our wedding night, you know what people do their wedding night.
No, I have no idea. Please expand on that.
So we had sex. So after we finished,
Hello, and welcome to our podcast Between Us. I'm here with my wonderful mother, as always, and today we have such an exciting episode. We have a guest star. Come on.
hello.
This is my best friend, Vanessa. We were childhood breast friends.
That was not a Freudian.
We're best friends.
We're bosom buddies.
Bosom buddies.
We're bosom buddies.
Bosom buddies.
I hate myself. Yeah, and she just got married. She's a newlywed. She decided to spend her honeymoon with me and my husband. And her husband as well.
They're here.
We're all here together. So that's really fun. And we're just gonna have a really light, fun discussion. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, cool. Hi, Vanessa.
Hi.
I miss Vanessa. I miss Vanessa hanging out at my house. I miss Vanessa hanging out with Emma.
I literally have so many fond memories of being in your house in high school and just everything that we did at your house.
We had fun.
We had a good time.
We had laughter and tears and
Tears caused by my now husband.
Oh.
yeah.
That's a tea.
Oh.
Love you, Ethan.
So yeah, Vanessa and I are both married, but when we were in high school together, we both had interesting stalkerish people that liked us. We have a lot of interesting stories that we could share that I think the audience might find entertaining. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Should I get into this?
Yeah, I think you should. I don't think you've heard about it.
I was going to say, I don't know that you ever heard about this whole story. So my either junior or senior year of high school, I'm going to call him Joe Schmo. Joe Schmo was an odd character. He was just very, very eccentric in character and a little out there, outlandish. And he was basically writing this book. And he was trying to be the author of this entire book that it was in this big, thick binder that had 500 pages of just random words, and I don't even know. So he's writing this book, and all of a sudden, there's this one day when he comes in a tizzy, and he's so panicked because somebody stole his book. So this literally sounds like I'm making this up, and I swear to you, I am not.
No,
I
you have an alibi.
I have alibis. I have video. I have pictures of this stuff somewhere in my memories. But anyway, so he all of a sudden this book that he's writing gets stolen, and so whoever is stealing this book is writing and leaving him anonymous letters saying, you need to do this in order to get your book back. And you need to do this in order to get your book back. If you don't do this in 5 days, I'm going to burn your book. And so Joe Schmo is in a tizzy. He's panicked because he's like, someone's going to steal my book. Someone's going to burn my book. All the hard work I've put into this. And so where I come into this then, and this other girl that we went to high school with, he basically is coming up to us and he's like, this book thief, he's calling him the book thief. The book thief told me in this letter, and he has this whole typed out letter. It is a typed out letter. He's telling us that in order to get my book back, I need to tell 5 people that I'm dating Vanessa Binkley. And so so he has to go around and he's telling 5 of our friends. He came up to me and he's like, I need to do this. He's like, I just need to do this in order to get my book back. I know it's not real. You know it's not real. I just have to do this. So he's like going and telling people that he's dating me. He also had to tell 5 people that he kissed this other girl or whatever. Something crazy. And so basically then he's going around and trying to get this book back. Oh, the other crazy part was that he had like the really old floppy disks.
Oh, yeah.
This is a whole other part of the
Also,
story.
that wasn't that long ago. You don't need a floppy disk in 2015.
So he had these floppy disks and he would have these audio messages. He had these audio messages that he put a filter over the voice. And so it sounded like a really like filtered voice saying, if you don't do this by Sunday at 5 p.m., I will burn your chapter of the book. And it's in this like dark, scary voice. And he's telling me that it's all on this floppy disk. And he's like, my floppy disk reader broke, so I can't even access this file to listen to this. Do you have a floppy disk reader that I could borrow? Like, he's literally going around asking everybody if he has these floppy disk readers that we can borrow. And so basically this whole time, he has this book, and we're like, what is going on? Nobody knows what is happening, but he's just making us do all of these weird, creepy things, like saying he's dating us and saying that he's kissed us, and he has to go and tell all these people. While all of this is happening, he's having me and this other girl like proofread his book. I honestly did not read. I was not in my reader era at the time, and so I also was a little just skeeved out and did not want to read it. But yeah, so he has us proofreading this book that's also going missing at the same time. But basically in the whole grand scheme of the moral of the story is that he pretended to be his own book thief. And so he literally changed his voice on these voice recordings, and he changed everything to make it seem like somebody else stole his book when in reality it was just him. But he like completely believed it. He was so not there.
No, it's so weird because I think he like got really into it and like he actually believed what was happening, but it was all him. Like something is like messed up there.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he really was doing the most.
And there was this whole thing where I don't know if he thought or if he truly believed, but he had like a chronic illness. And so, yes, and he walked around with like a cane, and he would like, it was wild. Like he pretended to have this chronic illness, and then the one time he came to school and he was like, oh my gosh. Yes. He's like, I went to my therapist and they told me that I just needed to be a completely new person and that I needed to start over 100%. So he picked a new name. Like, I don't even know what he had people call him. He picked a new name to have people call him that. And he came into school and he's like, do you know where the science hallway is? I don't know how to get to my classes. I'm new here. Keep in mind, this is like 3 years into school, like February of the school year. So like end of the school year. He's like, I don't know where my classes are. How do I get here? Can you direct me? And like, I'm new here. He would introduce himself in this new name to all these people. I don't know.
This guy is like pretty neurotypical. So it's not like, you know, somebody that could be like someone with like Down syndrome or like someone like that where I feel like they can just perceive things differently. So like, you know that he like had the right headspace, but he was just like, just acting really, really weird.
Wow. How long did this go on for?
I feel like so the whole book thing, that went on for a good like 4 or 5 months. Like it was during marching band season and
it happened. It was like a long period of time. And then, yeah, he like confessed to you, right?
He did.
Yeah.
He wrote, so in the midst of that, he wrote me this whole letter saying like that I just wanted you to listen to me and I wanted to have your attention. And like he wrote this whole thing saying that he was actually the book thief and that he planned it, like he did it all. And
that's crazy.
It was wild. I feel like that was such a non-cohesive story. It was honestly a fever dream.
Wow.
I remember because we were talking about it the other day, like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, did this actually happen? Or am I dreaming that this happened? Because there's no way that somebody would do this. And she's like, no, I remember it happening too. And I was like, okay. I didn't know if it was just me. Because I'm like, who in their right mind would pretend to do this? Like, they're really doing the most. Like, on top of all these extracurricular activities, you're like planning this whole weird story and like pretending you're in a movie, basically.
It was
Like
crazy.
I feel like that's mentally draining to like do to yourself.
No, I agree with you on that in the sense you wonder what kind of life he had at home or how insecure he was that he had to create an entirely new identity.
True.
Like
Yeah.
I feel bad. It's like pity. I
Yeah.
feel pity on
No, I feel that too.
yeah.
He's living a great life now. So he's doing
Yeah.
good. He
He's
was
doing
just a
great.
little
He was just
goofy.
a little odd in high school. I
Yeah.
don't maybe it was
That's
just a growing pain. Like he was just growing and developing odd. I don't know. It was
Yeah,
just
but
maybe
weird.
he wanted relevance.
It was
Yeah.
very
Maybe.
weird.
I mean,
I think he
he
just wanted to be the center of attention.
he also made those like synth covers of like EDM songs and stuff. Like he made this
Stop.
said synth cover. He would record like synth piano covers with like a bunch of flashing like DJ lights in the background in his bedroom and like post
Yeah,
them.
posts
And
them
he
on, like,
would sing.
Facebook.
Wow.
They probably are still
I'm
up
not
there
making
somewhere.
fun of him. I just think
No.
he was a little different
No.
than me. And
And most people, honestly.
Wow. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
That was a little crazy. Very like weird obsession story.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was like not just you, but also like it was only you and like
it was, I think
the
it was
other
me and
girl.
the other girl.
Yeah.
I think we were the only two that it really like directly involved.
Mhm.
Because yeah, he would write us these letters and he would like make all of these audio messages that like specifically name dropped her and I.
Yeah.
Like it was just us two.
Wasn't the book like also about like weren't you in the book?
I
I
think
could've
it's a different
sworn-
character or something
Yeah.
though.
I think it was based off of you and like
Yeah.
somebody else. And
But then I got this whole letter also while he was pretending to be the book thief. I got this letter from the book thief. I have to find it. I have it somewhere. But he wrote this whole letter from the book thief that was just like, he's actually been in love with you this whole time. And so this is why he wrote this whole book and he's doing this. Like he's in love with you. And it was just, it was so much. But honestly,
That's a
again,
little
I feel like
traumatic.
that was so scattered. Okay, is it just me or do you also, I feel like I do not remember things from my like high school experience or
Mhm.
even my childhood. Like I don't have trauma per se,
yeah.
but I like just struggle to memorize. Like some people can
Yeah,
be
when
like,
you-
on my 6th birthday, I went to this and did this and
Absolutely not.
but like I cannot. I do not remember things. I remember very specific random things.
I'm the same way. Like my memory is also kind of like scattered, and like there was a point in my life that I didn't know if it was a dream, a legitimate dream, or a memory, and I would
Yeah.
get them confused. I can't be like, oh yeah, in like December of 2014, this happened. Like even the month, like maybe it's this year that this happened, but like it's definitely, I don't know. When people tell stories, like some of them like go in crazy detail, but I'm like, I can barely
I
get
know.
like the main point out. There's some people that just have a really good memory because like I'm the same way. I mean, I think you know this already though, that I like also don't have a great memory. I just remember things that have happened, but I don't like recall when. And I
Mhm.
don't have any details. It's like I remember
Exactly.
like
No,
yeah.
same.
My mom is just smart, so she's gonna be like, no, I can't relate.
No, I can't relate.
I know. I was like,
I just no, I have every bad memory is seared into my subconscious. Not true. Not true.
Okay, but do you think that's because of like how you grew up and like kind of like the trauma that you grew up with? Because
Like
I would say that's a trauma response.
that could be.
it could be. I don't know, like for me, I don't forget. I'll forgive, but I don't forget because if you forget, there might be a moment where you're actually going to repeat what happened to you because
Mhm.
you allowed it before and you forgot about it and it's like, oh crap, yeah, you did this to me before. So I'll forgive, but I won't forget because I don't want to go through the same shit I went through. Sorry about the language. You can beep that out.
That's okay.
But the same stuff I went through, before. But yeah, I was gonna say, do you ever Google people you went to high school with or people that you met, like maybe at a camp or something, and you want to see either how badly their life turned out?
Oh, 1,000%. Mostly the people that are like were very popular in high school were like on the homecoming court and whatever. Absolutely.
People who peaked in high school.
People and like they're always
Yeah.
like
Oh, I can count so many people that have peaked in high school. Yeah.
a lot of them like were having babies before they got married, which like that's on you. But like, you know, that's not normally what you want to do. But like a lot of people are either like pregnant, having kids already, or just absolutely doing nothing with their life, or they've changed physically.
No, I get it. I
Yeah, like there's a certain lead in the musicals that I'm thinking of, and all she does
oh,
all she does is just like post pics with her cats and her friends. And like it's great, and I love that. I'm
like,
so glad you love
landmarks.
life. So glad you love life, and I'm so glad you're traveling, and I'm sure you have a very fruitful life. But also, you peaked in high school, like
I know exactly who you're talking about.
and it shows.
It really
And it shows.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is I always tell Emma, you know, she peaked after high school. You know what I mean? Like you haven't peaked yet. You're still
She's
peaking.
still peaking.
Oh, thank you.
You're still peaking.
So have you, honestly.
you know what I mean?
I feel like that comes with like getting married and like actually doing things with your life after high school.
Right,
I don't know.
exactly.
Not that I'm doing much with my life besides getting married, but
hey, that is a big step, honestly. And
it is a big
you're
step.
moving down to Virginia. Not that you really want to do that, but you are because you're a good wife.
Oh, you're a good wife. You'll Virginia.
And like at least like you're, I don't know, getting more experiences from like
Virginia's
somewhere
cute.
else. So yeah, you didn't have any other weird experiences in high school with men, right? With boys, actually.
I did have a secret admirer for a hot minute. I still have the note. I love notes. We used to write notes to each other in like the hallways. Like we would just literally write, "Hey, how are you doing?" And then we'd pass it off in between classes and be like, "I'm doing great. This class is so boring." And then we'd pass it off in the hallway again. Like we used to literally like write notes to each other.
Yeah,
I still have them all.
Same.
But anyways, I had this note from I'm gonna say his name and you can blur him out. And he like also used to be in love with me. And he wrote me this whole secret admirer note that was like, "Your radiance shines like a something something." Like it was a really sweet note.
It was very
like
cute.
It was just very like, "I'm professing my love to you, but I don't want you to know who I am. I just am not ready to tell you." And it was like, "Sincerely, your secret admirer." And so he put it in my band locker, and I did not know who it was for the longest time. And then I just kept asking around to people, and then I eventually found out that it was him because like somebody ousted him. I was like,
wasn't he younger than you? Because I remember he was a little shorter,
no,
right?
he graduated with us.
He was small.
He was you guys. How come I see him as okay? So he was small. So he graduated with you.
He
Small
was
and
like
greasy.
skinny and lanky.
Small and you can say it. I'm sorry. You can say it. It's been how many years since you graduated? Sorry, you can say it.
I have to say it.
He still is a little greasy. He's very hippy dippy.
Really?
Yeah, but no. So that was
hippy dippy. Yeah.
I think that was really the only other experience. I didn't have a lot of Ethan's like my first really only boyfriend and now husband. So I didn't really have a lot of. I had a lot of
weird admirers
situations. Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm talking about. I was talking about this to Vanessa. Whenever we go out, I always attract the weird people, like the weird men.
Really?
And I'm like, what is it about me that is attracting
They're
these
always
types of men?
"Hey, baby, how you doing?"
I know, and it's like the nerdiest like type of person you could think of. And I'm like,
Let me buy you a drink.
How dare you think that you could pull me? I know I have a very low self-esteem, but not that low.
Speaking of pulling men, when we were at Telus and that guy that we're pretty sure was a TikToker came up to us.
Okay, that really boosted our confidence.
Yeah.
Honestly.
We're pretty sure we met this TikToker at Telus one time. Him and like a bunch of his friends came up to us and they're like, "Hey, do you guys know where the best karaoke scene is?" And we're like,
I'm like, you were at the wrong city
at
in the wrong
spot.
state.
But and we told him, and he's like, "Well, hopefully we'll run into each other later." And
He was
We're
being
pretty
kind
sure
of
he was a
flirty,
cat.
and he was from LA.
Mhm.
And then I like pulled up his TikTok to Vanessa like a week after or whatever, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Was this the guy that we saw at Tellus?" And she was like, "Oh my gosh, I think so." And I was like, "There's no way." Like he looked exactly the same. He was visiting from LA, and I was like, "Damn,
think
did we
it
just
was.
meet him?"
I think it was.
And then we
Did you say, "Oh, I'm from California too"?
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
His
we chatted for a
TikToks
little
are kind
bit.
of cringy, but
They're either about like his cat and he's like scream singing to his cat, or they're like really cringy
does
thirst
those
traps.
like he does those like role play ones where they're like POV, you're my girlfriend, and he's like, "Hey baby, I know you're having a bad day, but let me give you a kiss to make it better." Like he
Yeah, like,
does
really-
these really cringy POV
Oh,
TikToks.
that is cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of annoying though because he gets millions of views on like every video.
Yeah,
So I'm
literally.
like, I can't even be mad
No.
about it.
No.
It's working for him.
I'm my gosh. I'm in the Gen X TikTok realm.
Oh yeah,
The algorithm takes me to my Gen X people
which is
because that's really sad, which is like people that give no because we grew up drinking from the faucet, from the hose. Parents didn't want to see us until the street lights were on, you know. And I thought I
That's
was
so
the only
sad.
one.
Get out of the
Like,
house.
no. It's like, yeah. So we're little bad people.
honestly.
Don't mess with Gen X.
Well, you grew up in the 70s and the 80s, where I think like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like not that I really know this, but it seems like parents didn't really care as much of like what you were doing, and like if you were out and about, they're like, okay, as long as you're back by like 10. But now
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
text me when you get here.
Well, the world was honestly not that it was a safer place, but it was a lot. There were a lot less things to be worried about then than there are now.
Yeah, because now it's like
Mm-hmm.
so many. It's
Now it's like you have to be inside before it gets dark, or else you could get kidnapped. Like, and that's a genuine fear. Like, it's not even
Human
that. It's not even
trafficked.
being overprotective. Like, it's genuine.
And not even for young kids. It's for anybody.
Yes.
Oh my
It's for anybody.
gosh.
But the internet has exposed the weirdos. Like you guys got to experience weirdos in the sense of school and
yeah.
these stalkers. And can you see how all that can be like just multiplied, with social media,
Mhm.
how weird people get?
Mm.
I can't, no. And little kids growing up with that.
Yeah, they're really out there exposing themselves.
Yeah, it's like let the, lunatics rule the asylum. So
Ugh.
there's some weird,
Yeah.
crazy crap out there. No, I think you guys had a pretty good childhood. I mean, in the sense that I knew you when you were in high school.
Mhm.
I think it was pretty good. Like,
Mhm.
I got to experience all of your love lives
That's so true.
and your heartbreaks. I mean, now you've married one of your biggest heartaches. I just remember you on the sofa. I'm sorry. Just I just remember you coming home from youth group with
Mhm.
Emma on the sofa, and I was literally, this is what I thought. What can I do to make it better? And and I remember calling Matthew. Because I'm like, Matthew, remember it was for prom.
Mhm.
Remember
Oh my
that? Senior
gosh.
prom.
Oh
And
my gosh.
Oh,
do you remember that? And I said, what can I do? And Matthew had miles, and Matthew flew up to take you to senior prom. Do you remember that?
yes.
But I just remember you crying, and I said, just give it time, and you were heartbroken, and now look where you're at.
Well, and that was crazy because so my prom date was a friend from another school,
Mm-hmm.
and he was supposed to go to prom with me for like months. We had it planned that he was going to prom with
Mhm.
me. And then literally
Mm-hmm.
the week before prom, while we were at youth group, he texted me saying he can't go to prom with me anymore because his parents planned some like military visit at a college that he didn't know about.
Bullshit.
And literally, like,
That was a BS
Mhm.
excuse.
yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, then he ditched me, and I was like a mess. And I remember like Ethan was there, and you were
Mhm.
there, and it was like I was like sobbing. And yeah, then I got a text from Matthew, and he was like, he wrote it. Oh, I wish I still had it. He wrote it in one of the little on iPhones you can scribble and write like the messages or whatever.
Oh.
And
Oh,
he
wow.
like sent me one of those like written messages saying like, will you go to prom with me? Or like something about like, will you go to prom with me? And basically saying that he was like flying home for prom. And honestly, like that was the most fun prom. Like we all went
It
to
was
Walmart
so much-
afterwards.
yeah,
And like,
Because
yeah.
there's nothing to do in Pennsylvania and nothing's open past like 10 or 8 actually. Yeah, after prom we went to Dunkin' Donuts
Mhm.
and then we drove to Walmart and walked around in our
In
prom,
our prom dresses.
That was such a fun time. Honestly, would do it again.
You guys had the best prom dresses though, too.
Honestly,
I think our prom dresses also really like complemented each other. It was
Yes.
like yours was like
They
a very
did.
royal, like kind of almost navy blue, and mine was like this like burgundy.
okay, wait. This is a picture of us with Emma's now husband too. Let's see if I can get it.
Yeah, you guys slayed.
Cute.
We
You look so good.
slayed that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no,
It was
we
the
looked
best prom.
so good at that prom.
Yeah.
Yeah, we killed it.
It's worth it. Worth it. Worth every penny, worth everything. And yeah,
Like
Yeah, and we
having
still
the
have
guys
our-
wear superhero shirts and
Oh my gosh, all the guys like when we took prom
Here, I have
pictures
a
together,
picture
they all
somewhere.
had like superhero shirts underneath their button downs. It was very
yes,
cute.
it was so
That was
cute.
fun.
It was a vibe.
that was cute. It was a vibe. It was good.
Did you want to go to prom with because that's when Ethan
Yeah.
and Gloria-
Well,
Yeah. Well, that was the whole thing.
okay, you can beep out the words.
Yeah.
Like maybe you should tell like do you want to tell your story about you and your now husband? Like
I can tell the
I
Cliff
think
Noted
it's a
version.
Yeah.
honestly I think yeah, do the Cliff Noted version, but start at when you guys went to that wilderness camp because I think that's where all this kind of started, right? That wilderness
Yes.
trek because that's where Emma and Evan started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
pictures from that. Okay. So yeah, so we all went on, and I have pictures of it. We all went on this wilderness trip with our youth group to Canada. On that trip, Ethan developed this character called, what was his name? Jean Maurice. Jean Maurice. He was like a French Canadian tour guide.
I remember you
And he
telling
filmed
me
all
about
of these videos about like how to survive in Canada, basically, whatever.
Mm.
So
I wonder if I have those somewhere. If I do, I will post them. I will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Play
they're
them.
funny. I remember you sharing those. Yep. Okay.
Mhm.
So Emma's now husband Evan and Emma, and then me and my now husband Ethan. The four of us were all like really good friends on that trip because you and Evan weren't dating either at the time.
Yeah.
But we all were hanging out. We all liked each other.
Oh
not,
yeah.
Not that way.
We all liked each other.
We all
Do
liked each
people
other.
probably think we're swingers?
when we were at Universal, we're like, people probably think we're swingers because
'Cause
we
we're
were all
going-
just like, Evan and I are all here and we're
Like-
like, la la la. And Evan and Ethan are like hooking up on each
Like,
other.
smacking each other
They
out.
were literally just
Smacking
smacking
each
each other's the whole time.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, so yeah, clearly that bodes to the friendship between the four of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we all went to Canada and it was a really fun time. And Ethan had this whole character. We get
Mhm.
back from Canada, and I guess it would have been that fall. Yeah, it would have been
Yeah.
that fall. We have homecoming at our school, and Ethan asked me to homecoming. And I have the video somewhere too, but he used the Jean Maurice character and was filming a video, and it was like how to ask someone to homecoming. And he walked up to me like filming this video and was basically saying this whole how-to thing, and then asked me to homecoming. And he gave me a bouquet of like Canadian leaves and pine cones.
Mhm.
We can insert the picture because
Yeah,
it's
it'll-
actually really cute.
Mhm.
So he asked me to homecoming then, and we then were going to homecoming, and I guess it was right before homecoming he had appendicitis and had to get his
Mhm.
appendix out. So that was really fun, and we visited him in the hospital and whatever. And we went to homecoming then afterwards, and like it was a fun time. It was a good vibe. Obviously, he couldn't do much because he just had surgery, so he was kind of just there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then after homecoming, I was really like, I really like this guy, and he was like, oh, he really liked me. And so I asked my parents, and I was like, I really like this guy. Yeah, I was like, I really like this guy, but, you know, I don't know. And my parents were like, well, you know, he's 2 years younger than you. You're going off to college next year, and he's still in high school. It just doesn't make sense to try to keep a long distance relationship. And so obviously I was never in a relationship before, and so I like massively cared what my parents thought because I, didn't want to upset my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up kind of realizing like, oh crap, I can't be with him because my parents don't approve, and he's too young and I'm going off to college. So I take responsibility. I was in the wrong. I like started ghosting him kind of because I was just like, I don't know how to tell him. Like, how do I tell him that my parents don't want me to date him and that's the reason we can't be together?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I didn't know how to tell him that. So I just kind of started backing away from him in social situations. And eventually things kind of fizzled a little bit. And then prom time comes around and the whole thing that I explained with my prom date happens. And at the time then, my best friend at the time, not Emma, but another girl that I grew up with, she ended up asking Ethan to prom.
Yeah.
And that was like, she was like, oh, I've actually had feelings for him the whole time. And I was just like kind of waiting. Like she was just saying that.
Yeah, she was almost like justifying the fact that she knew Vanessa liked him still, but couldn't do anything about it. But then went on and like asked him to prom, but like justified it by saying she liked him all this time, blah, blah, blah.
Sorry, she just broke girl code.
That's
I'm
what
sorry.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, she broke girl code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that was
anyways.
the beginning of the end of our friendship anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they ended up going to prom. But before prom happened, there was like a time when Evan, Emma, Ethan, and I, so Evan and Emma were already dating at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
But Evan and Emma, Ethan and I were supposed to all have a movie night. And then Evan and Emma ended up not being able to come. And I don't know why you couldn't come. Was that planned or was that?
No.
I was like,
Evan,
were you trying something?
Evan wasn't allowed because I think his parents needed him at the farm or something. And then I was
Yeah.
like, well, I don't want to like intrude, whatever. I think it was something like that. I can't really see. This is where my memory is like,
yeah. So then it just ended up. Ethan came over and we watched a movie and we like cuddled a little. Like that was kind of all that happened. Whatever. He went home. And then Ethan and I ended up getting coffee like right before prom. And he was like, I'm in a really hard situation. I really like you still, but I really like this other girl still. And he basically was like, you need to tell me what to do. Like, do I choose you or do I choose her? And I was like, I can't tell you who to choose. That's not my choice. Like, you need to make this decision for yourself. And that was basically where I left that.
Same.
Even though, like, I wanted to be like, choose me.
But you don't want to be a pick me.
Choose me.
Pick me.
Love me. So I wanted to tell him, but I couldn't. And so then we ended up going to prom, and we have more pictures where we all went to prom together. Then at prom, this other girl and Ethan officially started dating the night of prom. And prom happened. I was like really upset about it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 months, so they started dating in April, and I guess it would have been like July. We had our church did these like pond parties. And so we went to the pond party, and he wrote me this letter that was basically like, if I could go back and choose, I would choose you. And not saying I like regret where I'm at with her, like I love her, but I also keep thinking, what if like if we were together? Mm-hmm. So I was obviously pissed to the max. Like I was so annoyed that I'm like, well, why didn't you just pick me then? Like, don't say what if. So I was angry about that, and whatever. Time goes on. Everyone's like, they're definitely going to only be dating for like 5 months. Like that's not going to, they're not going to
We didn't think they were going to last.
And they ended up dating for 1.5 years. Spoiler alert. And so yeah, all of this time though, we go off to college, and Emma and I are in college, and she tries to you try to set me up with a bunch of your friends. Because you're like, I'm like, set me up with people. Like, I don't know who to date, whatever.
Right. And you only had like a boyfriend for 3 weeks in high school, and that was it. So she hasn't had like actual, like a real boyfriend yet. And so we were trying to like, get you one. It's college. You want to have fun.
So she tries to set me up with Evan's best friend. And that was just like, he was like a car guy, and I was not into car guys. So I was like, no thanks. I just can't do it. And I kept comparing him to Ethan. Like I kept every little thing. I was like, Ethan has this and he doesn't. And so I was like, no, I can't do it. So I ended things. And then like half a year later, she sets me up with her other friend in the TV department. Stop.
I was like, who?
Yeah,
Bro,
so she set me up with her
that
other
is
friend Ben.
crazy.
And
I totally forgot about that.
yeah, and that was crazy because we hit it off. Like it was good for like a few weeks or whatever. Like we were hanging out, like whatever. There were little things that I kept comparing him to Ethan, whatever. But then he was like all in. Like he was like
He was very
assuming I was his
obsessive.
girlfriend right away. And we went to Six Flags together, and he's like trying to like hold my hand everywhere we go and basically call me his girlfriend. And this is like a week after hanging out with him.
It was just like
Wow.
weird because it's not like they were trying to like date each other yet. Like, oh, didn't you guys
Yeah.
swipe right on Tinder or something?
I don't know.
Something
Maybe.
like
It
that,
was
I
something
think.
like that.
Because we were like, oh, you should just swipe right to see if he likes you or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, he was very like clingy right off the bat, even though like they weren't anything yet. So it was weird.
Yeah. And so I was just like, ick. And I, again, was just comparing everyone to Ethan. Like I was like, he has this and Ethan has this. And so I ended things with him. All throughout this whole time though, like I'm still, I mean, like I called you like sobbing so many times, wanting to like send these letters to Ethan about like, I was like, do I send this letter to Ethan? Do I like, I wrote this whole thing. Should I tell him how I feel? And we're like, we don't want to ruin his relationship with her. And yeah, like you remember that because we called you a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. No, like this is like you really were there throughout, like you and Emma were there throughout like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like still in love with Ethan. And
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what? Like if something is meant to happen, it'll happen. Like I would just like pray. I was like, God, if like I just feel like there's a reason why I feel like this guy is my guy, and I don't know why, and I don't know why I can't move on and get past it. Yeah, I was just being patient, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, I guess it would have been October of 2018, him and this girl broke up, and like she broke up with him in a really manner.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it just was not good.
I think I remember that. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was like with a video. It was like a pre-recorded Snapchat video that she sent him. Like it was awful. Whatever.
That is so weird.
It was so weird.
Being together for over a year.
And you can't have a conversation. Wasn't she seeing somebody slightly on,
I don't think was she?
No, if anything
or
after.
because she was off to school, right? She
Yeah,
was
she was
in
like
school
3
in
hours
another,
away.
and I thought there was somebody she
I
was
thought there was
spending more
someone
time
that she like
with.
started to like. I think it
yeah,
was.
there might have been. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's her now boyfriend.
Yeah, I
I
don't
just
know
feel
either.
like that story is that
Yeah, I remember something like that.
it's
after.
not her now boyfriend though.
No.
Is she dating the guy that she brought to Emma's wedding
Mhm.
still?
Yeah.
Yep, they're still dating.
Okay. Yeah,
Don't
it
know why
wasn't
they're
that guy.
Engaged yet.
Well,
Hmm.
whatever.
Anyway.
But yeah, so they broke up, and then Ethan and I, so we were still friends like throughout pretty much their whole relationship, but
Mhm.
we just didn't talk a lot.
Sorry, a memory just came
Oh,
up.
a whole, like-
a memory just downloaded. I remember that she Snapchat texted me and was like, "Hey." Like,
Crazy.
I forget how she like worded it, but she was like,
She
"Does
said,
Vanessa still talk about Ethan, or
Does she
does she
still
still
like
like
Ethan?"
Ethan?" Blah blah blah. And I was like, "No, I
Yeah.
don't think I said
she
anything."
texted Emma saying, "Hey, does Vanessa still like Ethan? He wanted to know. Like
Oh,
Ethan wanted
that's
to
what it
know if
was.
Vanessa still liked him." And eventually then we found out that Ethan never asked her that. Like that was just her being
Her being
insecure
insecure.
and like wanting to know. Because she knew the whole time that
Wow.
I had feelings for him and he had feelings for me. Like even though obviously
Mhm.
they were very much in love, but
Yeah.
like deep down like she knew that there was still something between Ethan and I.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
was so. I had a feeling when she
Uh.
texted me that I was like, "There's no way
She's-
Ethan."
you told me. I was with you, I think, when
Yeah,
she texted you. And I
yeah.
was like, no,
No
way.
way. Also, like, if Ethan wanted to know, he would have just texted me.
He would have texted you or even Evan. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He would
exactly.
not have gone through his girlfriend
to
to ask
That's
Yeah.
so weird.
The other
though.
girl, like that's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely sus. Yeah.
Very.
So,
Okay.
anyways, they broke up, and they broke up in October of 2018. And so Ethan and I then started like FaceTiming, calling, texting, like literally every day. Like we were talking, we were like on the right path. It was just more so a waiting game because we were like, you know, are you ready? And he was like, no, I'm still, you know, very much heartbroken, which understandable. Like your first relationship, and it's a year and a half long. Like that is deep. Yeah, I was just being patient, whatever. We were talking about dating. We were very much still into each other. And then in February of 2019, they had a Serval dance. Our high school did a Serval dance, which is like a Sadie Hawkins, like the girls ask the guys. And this girl who Ethan went to high school with, who was in his grade, she was like obsessed with Ethan and very much in love with him. And he asked me before, like he was like, hey, is it all right if I go to the dance with this girl? Like she wants to ask me, it's just as friends. Like I want to make sure if it's all right with you. Like if it's not, I won't go with her. And I was like, why not? Like I don't care. I trust you. Like who am I to stand in the way?
Right.
So they ended up going to the dance together. Literally the morning of the dance, Ethan and I are talking about dating. We're like, we're gonna date soon. Like just give me a little bit more time, whatever. And then the dance happens and it's like dead silence. And I get nothing from him until like 11 p.m. And he's like, this whole long text, like, I can't do this anymore. We just can't be together. I'm not ready. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, whole thing. Literally complete 180 in like from morning to night. And so I was a mess, and like Emma and our other roommates were like calling Ethan and cursing him out, and like
We were like
they were real
texting
ones.
him.
They
Oh,
were
yeah.
real friends.
Like, how dare
They were like, "How dare you hurt her? Like you idiot!" Like they were just no. It was so real.
I remember that.
Yeah. So they all called him and were like calling him out and whatever. I'm a mess. So then another month goes by, and I like have no explanation of like why he stopped things between us. Like I had no idea why. It was just like yes and then no. And so I find out later that it's because him and this girl kissed at the dance, and he was like, you know, if I can kiss another girl, then clearly I'm not ready for a relationship, which I respect. Like that makes total sense to me. Like that.
He should have just said it off
Yeah,
the bat.
he was smart, but he should have said off the bat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he explains that to me, and I'm like upset, but I also now can understand and like process where he's coming from. So we're thinking about it. I'm still like very much in love with him, and then in March he was the lead in the musical that the high school was doing. They were doing Charlie Brown, and he was Charlie Brown.
Oh.
And Emma and I went to go see him, and like I wrote him this whole long letter that was like basically, this is how I feel. I don't know if you still feel the same way, but I'm throwing it out there. Like the ball's in your court. You figure out what to do now, but I'm telling you how I feel. You know, if you are ready for something, then you let me know. If you're not, then that's okay. I'll move on. Yeah, so I sent him this whole letter. I gave him this whole letter. And then we started talking again. And then literally a month later, while Emma's like literally there this entire time.
I don't know why I'm just like in your guys' relationship.
You're literally in our relationship the whole time. Emma, Ethan, and I went to go see a show that my brother was in. And yeah, in the car ride on the way home, he asked me to be his girlfriend. And that was 5 years ago. And now we're married.
Wow. 5 years you guys were dating.
That was
5
so
years
much.
ago.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Patience and persistence.
It was a God-given thing. Like, I found a letter that I wrote to Ethan in August of 2018. So, like, that was, like, before him and the girl broke up. That was before him and her. Before they broke up, I wrote him this letter, and I ended the letter by saying, if something is meant to happen, it'll happen. Like, I don't know if we are meant to be, but if we are, something will happen. Basically was like how I ended the note. And I never gave the note to Ethan. It was a note that I was like, I want to give it to him, but I don't want to ruin their relationship, so I'm not going to give it to him. And so in our vows, I added that, the note I never gave him. I wrote this line saying like, if something is meant to happen, it will happen. And yeah, it was really sweet.
And then it happened.
And then it happened.
Absolutely.
Ethan's dad performed the ceremony for us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it was so sweet. Like he
It was so cute.
really customized it. Like it was
He
the
gave them
most
like little
perfect
presents
ceremony.
that kind of like related to what they both really like. Like it was very cute like
Really?
during the ceremony.
That's
yeah.
cute.
Honestly, like the ceremony was my favorite part, and I thought the ceremony was going to be my least favorite part of the wedding just because of like having everyone's eyes on me and like all the pressure of saying the right thing and reading my vows. We did public vows, so we like actually read them to each other versus private. So I was like really nervous about the ceremony, but it actually ended up being like my favorite part. Like I actually really loved the ceremony.
It was a good ceremony. Yeah.
One of the things that happened when I got married was we took our pictures beforehand, and Craig and I did not want to see each other until I actually walked down the aisle. So I was segregated and separated from everybody unless I was needed for a picture. So we had like a light catered lunch right before the wedding ceremony so that everybody could have food while we were taking pictures, and they locked me literally in one of the rooms in the church by myself. And I sat there crying because I was starving because you don't eat anything the day of your wedding. You don't. Now I got my hair done. I hadn't eaten anything. I had, it was, yeah. When they got me out, one of my groomsmen came and, well, Craig's groomsmen, but it was a friend of ours, Gary. And he felt so bad for me. He's like, "You haven't eaten anything?" I said, "No." So he ran. I don't know where if we had just packets of M&Ms somewhere, but he ran and found me a packet of M&Ms. It might have been like, in church, maybe they have like a vending machine. I don't know. And in my pictures where I'm sitting by myself, I'm actually holding a packet of M&Ms and in between them. So that's my little
so
secret.
cute.
But those things were tragically hard. Like there was some crappy and then I find out Craig's playing basketball with his groomsmen while I'm sitting locked in a room by
Literally
myself.
men.
I know,
Literally men.
I'm confused why nobody
Mhm.
sat there with you or why you were just locked in a room. Like where were your bridesmaids?
My bridesmaids were getting pictures with Craig, with dad, because we did bridesmaids pictures with the groomsmen, and that took about 15, 20 minutes. And then after that, they went and got lunch.
Oh.
So then I'm sitting in there while they're doing all the pictures and stuff. Because we did, if you saw our wedding album, it's got some pretty fun but posed pictures in it. And yeah, and I don't know where my parents were. I have no clue,
That makes me so sad.
None of my
for you.
family, none of my family was kind of around me. Like, you know how I was like hovering over you during your wedding
No, I
and the preps?
appreciated
Because
it.
I'm like, first of all, I haven't seen you in years, but it was just my daughter's leaving me.
I know.
But yeah, it was so yeah, I probably would have changed that. Is there anything you would have changed, Vanessa, in your wedding?
I don't think.
Now I don't honestly. Again, so the ceremony surprised me. That was the part I was most anxious for, and it's actually my favorite part. The reception, I like actually had a mental breakdown, and I went out into the hallway and cried for like a good 5 minutes during the reception because it just was not going as I planned, and it felt like awkward and rushed, and I don't know. I'm not at a place where I think I can think about it yet. Like it's so fresh and I don't know. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. It's just that there's a lot I would have changed. And I think the reception is just something that always kind of gets brushed over. Like when you're doing your rehearsal dinner, you don't really run through how the reception's going to go. And so it's just something that gets missed in detail. And then when it's happening, it feels very frazzled. And like it just wasn't necessarily the best time of everything, the way everything happened. I don't know. I had a great time, but it just wasn't everything that I really wanted it to be.
I think it's because so there was obviously a timeline of when things were gonna happen, but everything was just very late. I don't know what made it that way. Maybe it was pictures or just getting everything set up, or there was a lot of people there, so things were just kind of dragging on. So they were gonna have the dance floor open to dance for maybe half an hour, and people would dance, because there's a lot of kids there. And then after that, they were going to do like a fake send off. So you could get pictures of them like walking and like everybody's like has their little sparkler things so that they could get like a cute little picture and video of that. And then all the adults were going to go back inside and they were going to play like really fun music that's like not PG and just like it would just be more of like a party. But that didn't happen. So instead of going to dancing to send off to like dancing again, it just went, everybody was just like leaving outside to do a random send off really quick and then go dance. And so it felt like just like discombobulated in that way. Like as like a guest there, like I didn't mind, but when you want something a certain way for your wedding and it doesn't happen like that, it's just really frustrating. That, and I don't know if you want to talk about the dances.
We were planning to do like the father-daughter dance and then have like halfway through that have the other fathers and daughters who were also at the wedding come up and dance with us. So it wasn't like a full like 5-minute song. And then same with mothers and sons, have the other mothers and sons. Because I had a lot of family members there who had their kids there. And like we had church friends who like had their fathers or mothers or daughters or whatever there. So then, yeah, like the father-daughter dance song played for the mother-son dance. And like it kind of just messed up the whole thing. And so then that just felt awkward. And yeah, it was just kind of, discombobulated a little bit. And
well, because that's like a special song that like you or your dad or like Ethan and his mom picked out. So Ethan and his mom like didn't get to dance to the song they picked out, and then you and your dad had to dance to the same song that was just played. So it's like it wasn't as special, and that's like a special moment like you're sharing with like your parent, and it just kind of like obviously like mistakes happen and there's always something that's gonna go wrong, but it just kind of sucked to like
and then it was just like like I had like a list of songs that I was like, you know, like I absolutely want these songs to play, like because they're just some songs that I love to play or whatever, and then like they didn't end up getting played. And so again, it was just kind of like the vibes just weren't there. Like I wanted to have like, you know, a slow dance song so that all of the couples could come and slow dance. Didn't happen.
Yeah, there wasn't one slow dance song.
No. Yeah. Like it just, I don't know. Again, I think it was because everything felt so rushed and discombobulated that it was like things just didn't go as planned. And yeah, again, it just is a little soon since it just happened a week ago.
Haven't had time to process it.
Yeah.
Was your DJ like a well-known DJ or?
No. It was like a friend who's done DJing for like birthday parties and stuff. And I mean, that was like my part too. Like I could have hired somebody, but I was like, I also don't want to spend $1,000 on a DJ. Like, I don't know. And
totally
he did it
fair.
for a couple hundred, and he did great. Like he did great.
Despite that, he did really good.
Yeah, but it was just. It was just that it wasn't, I think because everything was so rushed and it wasn't as well planned out as it could have been, because I think more detail was put into the ceremony than the reception. And like, like I didn't want to do like a full sit down meal, but that it ended up turning into a full sit down meal. And so that also kind of messed with my vision and my plan for the wedding. So it's just, I mean, it was a day and I loved it. I mean, I loved the ceremony, like I said, and I had a good time. But again, I was more so worried about like, I just wanted to be married. Like I'm like, I love my husband and I just wanted to be married and start our life. Like I didn't need any like big fancy thing. And yeah.
Did everybody else enjoy your wedding reception?
I don't know. I think I'm too scared to ask people.
Did anybody else complain about your wedding reception?
No, but nobody's going to complain to the bride.
Nobody's going to know, but nobody's going to know. They don't, because you know what? Unless you gave every single person in your guest list an itemized list of what is supposed to happen when, they never would know anything different. Never.
Honestly, it did look like people were having a fun time. The drinks were very strong, so I think that also helped.
Oh, no, that's good. That's good. Yep.
From what I could see, like, everybody seemed to be having a good time.
The drinks are free and drinks are strong, then...
Yeah. If you would do it over again, would you make it, like, a smaller event? Like, have it be... Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that was, like, originally, my original desire, or I guess wish for the wedding, was that we would have like a little destination wedding with just our close family and friends, and then come back and do like a big party with everyone. And like that was my original desire, and then it just like turned into something a little bit more like traditional, which
I think because like family and people just like want other things, and like you want to like meet their expectations and like don't want to let anyone down, so then like you kind of forfeit what you really want because you just want to make everyone happy. And then so it was a beautiful wedding.
Yeah. It was.
That's what I'm saying for the vow renewal, and in like 5 to 10 years,
Yeah.
then you can do a little like destination moment with your close family friends.
Like I loved all of the details, and I loved how it came together, like specifically the ceremony and stuff. Like it was a gorgeous space, and like I loved the venue, and I loved the decor and the details and all that stuff. Like I loved that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was just the day itself was just very frantic after the ceremony.
Did you have a wedding coordinator?
Yes and no. So like the venue came with a woman. It came with a woman. No. But there was like the woman who like helped to run the venue. She kind of did like coordinating things, but we more so did not have a coordinator. Like Carrie did a lot of stuff, Ethan's mom, because she actually like did a lot of wedding planning and that stuff before, like years in the past. She's done a lot of that. So like she's a godsend. Like she did so much, and I will be eternally grateful to her. Like, but also it's like she did things like that was my thing, is that we got married exactly a year after we got engaged. Which was really special, but it also is just like, yes, we had a year, but I procrastinated a lot on doing things. And I think it was just because it wasn't really what I wanted. And so I procrastinated doing it because it wasn't what I wanted. Like if it was something that I was excited about, I think I would have been like, had everything planned out like months before the wedding even came. But it ended up coming to like all of the details and everything started getting planned like a month before the wedding. And so it's just been like it has been like the most chaotic past few months of my life. And
well, but you're married.
Yes. And that is all that matters.
And, I would say your friends probably had a really good time, and your family did too. And they're probably very, very happy for you. And you're hanging with your bestie now.
Twin, where have you been?
I can't believe you guys are still friends. For how long?
10 years. No, that was the thing.
Decade.
We celebrated our 10-year friendiversary because when we went to Universal, it was also 10 years after we went there with you guys.
Wow.
And Evan and I just forced ourselves on their honeymoon.
No, they're invited.
Did you enjoy your honeymoon?
Yes, honestly.
Did you enjoy it? That was our gift to you.
Aw, I know. And we're seriously so grateful. It was so fun, and it was such a nice time.
It was fun. Got to be in the lazy wiver.
Lazy
The
wiver.
lazy
The
wiver.
On our wedding night. I'm gonna tell you our wedding night horror story.
Okay.
So
is this the G-rated version or?
Well,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
ahead.
PG-13.
We can do. Okay, let's go. I'm good with this. Let's go.
Have you ever seen that TLC show Sex Sent Me to the ER?
No, but I have heard about that.
So
What?
So let's just say we ended up in the ER our wedding night. So honestly, like this is a story for the books. So our wedding night, you know what people do their wedding night.
No, I have no idea. Please expand on that.
So we had sex. And and so after we finished, there's no way to talk about this. Okay, so after we finished, Ethan had this like awful pain. He had this awful pain in his nuts. And so he was like, so this man, we're like trying to go to bed. We're like, let's just go to sleep. Like, it'll be fine when we wake up. And he's like so paranoid that it's testicular torsion. So he's like Googling all of the symptoms and all this stuff. And it's like, if you like think you have testicular torsion, like you need to get to the ER like within a few hours. Like it's bad.
Because they have to untwist something. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
So it's like 1 a.m. at this point. We are driving to the nearest ER in Chester County. And so we end up at this ER. And like Ethan gets checked in, he gets taken back to the room. We're there for like 4 hours. Like we did not get out until the sun was rising at like 5:30 in the morning.
Wow.
But yeah, so we go and he's like getting an ultrasound, like all this stuff. It's not testicular torsion. He has I think it's like a varicocele, something, a varicocele or a varicelle. I forget, varicocele, I think. But it's like an enlarged vein or something that it just like can come from like strenuous activity, like if you're standing for long periods or sitting for long periods of time or whatever. But basically they're just like, you need to be careful like squatting and like lifting heavy weights and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, so we really took in sickness and in health, literally. God put us to the test on our wedding night.
From the very beginning.
But yeah, so that's our episode of Sex Sent Us to the ER.
Wow, are we feeling better now though?
Oh, he's been fine.
Because I'm the mom and me. Okay,
He's been fine like
Okay.
every single night.
Every other time
Every other
they've
time. He's been fine.
We're fine. Okay, la 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 la.
Yeah, so that was that was our unforgettable wedding night. So
Wow.
Honestly,
Oh my gosh.
I love that for you. Like, you're gonna have a story to tell for the rest of your life.
That's a great story. No, no matter what goes on in your wedding, your honeymoon, that's to me, you can have boring everything perfect. You know what I mean? And nobody wants to hear those stories. We don't care. I want to hear the stuff that you survived, the stuff that didn't go well, and how did you accomplish that?
We survived already.
Yeah.
You survived. Wow. And you did it with humor, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did Emma and Evan go to the ER with you?
No, we
or
were
did
fast
they-
asleep. I mean, we were in like the same like hotel, but we were fast asleep in our room.
We didn't want to wake them up and like
You totally
ruin their sleep and
You should have. We would have like
well, and it was
kept
like
you company.
we also had to call Ethan's mom because Ethan had to get his insurance card because like they had new updated ones.
Oh, yeah.
And so we had to call his mom at like 2 a.m. to try and get the like insurance card and basically explain everything that happened.
Can't imagine.
I'm glad that she answered the phone.
gosh.
Because like
Yeah.
my phone is like on silent.
Yeah.
All the
No, it was like
Mhm.
it was so uncomfortable. Probably not for Ethan, but for me. Like we were at the hospital and like he's like at the desk and they're like, "What's wrong?" And he's like trying to like tell the nurse person, he's like, I'm worried I might have testicular torsion. And the nurse is like, "Huh? What was that?" And he's like, testicular torsion? Like he's like trying to like talk to the nurse without yelling it and announcing it to everyone.
my testes hurt.
He's like, it's our wedding night, and after we,
After activities.
After a strenuous
It was
activity.
so uncomfortable for me to just stand there. I was like, I'm gonna go sit.
I'm gonna leave now.
So that was great. Just had to share
Wow.
that story.
No, that was good.
That's a great story. Great story.
Yep.
What a great way to end your wedding day.
Clearly, things are not just kept between us.
No.
That was fantastic.
That was a great segue into the title of our show,
Our podcast. Wow. You're a professional. I know this was a little bit of a long one.
I know. I feel like I talked at you the whole time.
No, it was good though. I love a good story.
I'm a yapper. Sorry.
I love a yapper and I love a story.
And this is real and it's so fresh. So we got a lot of experience.
Well, okay, it's me. Hi, and thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you tuning into this week's episode, and we will catch you next week. on whatever topic we're gonna talk about. Haven't figured that one out yet. So yeah. Okay, want to say bye, Mom? Any last words?
Bye.
No?
Last words.
Bye.
I did the last words.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye.